Ms. Whittier, you say that you are sure Mr. Reed is the father of your 22-month-old son, Lucas. But the defendant's paternity doubts have led to constant fighting and tension in your relationship. You desperately hope to prove he is the father to save your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Reed, you believe it is medically impossible that you are Lucas's father. You say you bonded with him at birth and have taken care of him and loved him, but every time you look at Lucas, you are haunted by the doubts that you are not his biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Whittier, if Mr. Reed didn't have this doubt, where do you think the two of you would be right now?
I think we would be married, moving on with our lives, getting away from the conflict that constantly drags our family down.
Really? And that conflict is all based upon a paternity issue?
Yes, ma'am. Shortly before Lucas's birth, we had an argument. And that argument led to the ultimate gonna shut him up kind of moment. So I said, well, how do you know if it's even yours?
You say that in the argument?
Yes. I never doubted it was his, but I just kind of wanted to end the argument and let it be done. And I've regretted that statement ever since I made it.
So talk to me about the nature of this relationship. How did your relationship begin?
He tried to save my toddler that he thought was drowning. He didn't realize she could swim.
Oh, that's cute. Good reflexes, Mr. Reed.
It was a baby, and she was adorable, cute little stubby thing running around the pool in a little swimmer diaper. Jumps in the pool, so I'm laying in the lawn chair, getting my tan on. And I'm laying in the lawn chair, and here she goes. I look up, she jumps in the pool, and I'm right behind her, and I come up looking for her, and she's swimming around.
He moved in mid-September, and we found out we were pregnant the first week in November.
I was terrified.
You were?
I mean, outright terrified.
Yeah,
I didn't know what I was gonna do. I mean, name me one parent that does know what they're doing, first time. That's what my mom said.
Did you have any doubt during that time that the child was yours?
No, not at the time of the pregnancy. I didn't know.
Okay. When did the plot twist come?
With his ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
The conflict started between me and her. Well, then she starts whispering in his ear, oh, well, what if it's not yours? There was some arguments.
There were some arguments?
Yeah.
Yes. And an ex of mine decided to be disgusting and send a very vulgar message to my phone. He found it and thought that maybe there was some continuing relationship there.
Oh, okay.
And then I moved in with my ex.
Oh, and then you moved in with your ex during the pregnancy?
He moved
Yes,
in with
Your Honor, I
the
did.
troublemaker.
I'm like, why they keep trying to skip over the part I'm asking about? Now I know why, because this is where it got messy.
I really don't know.
So wait a minute. So you're pregnant now. Your ex sends you a picture, a text.
It was a video.
A video?
Yeah.
I couldn't. Oh man,
What was in the
was-
video,
I
didn't
Mr.
like-
Reed?
he was having sex with somebody. Outright, it showed everything.
It did.
Your ex sent a video of him having sex with somebody else.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
he was trying to make me jealous and make me come back to him. I don't think I don't think it was gonna work.
That was a pretty
didn't,
horrible concept. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking, but
And so wait, you see this video,
yes, I did.
and then what do you think? Well, why are you still having contact? What goes through your head?
I told her, I was like, why are you, I don't mind if you talk to him, but if he's gonna send you videos like this, no. I told her, no, that's not okay.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean,
Did you believe it was the ex and Ms. Whittier in the video?
I think that's what he thought, and
I
I
didn't see
tried.
who it was. I didn't see no faces or nothing.
I had a blood clot, and they put me in the hospital, put me on blood thinners, and they said the blood thinners carry a massive risk of neither one of you making it through. And I called him and I said, you need to come home.
I'd never been so scared in my life.
And I told him that I didn't know if Lucas was gonna make it. I didn't know if I was gonna make it.
And so when you got that call, Mr. Reed, what did you do?
All I could do, not to cry too, but I knew as a man that I needed to be strong. And I needed to be her rock.
He came home. We spent
Yep.
the next month in the hospital. They finally
did.
sent us home and said, as long as nothing else goes wrong from here to the end, maybe we'll have a healthy baby.
So once you heard of this very scary medical situation, you went and stood by her and the baby, even with your doubts.
Yes,
He
I
was
did.
there for a lot of it. But then the same ex come back. Well, you know, look at your family. Your family doesn't have these health problems. They don't have these medical problems. And these are, you know, only inherited things.
Mr. Reed, at what point after the birth do the doubts really kick in?
When Lucas started getting really sick, when he was 2 weeks old, he had his first grand mal seizure. Sometime during that 3-week hospitalization, Joe's like, how does this happen? You know, nobody in my family has seizures. Nobody in my family has any of the feeding issues or the heart issues or the brain issues that Lucas does. I tried telling him, you know, sometimes it can be so far back in your family you don't know it's there.
So Lucas
Yes.
was diagnosed with albinism.
Yes.
On its surface, when they first told me, I laughed because I didn't realize how serious it was. We all hear the word albino. Nobody actually thinks about what it means. And suddenly you realize it doesn't just mean that he's pale and blonde and blue-eyed. It means that his skin can't take sunlight.
The only huge doubt I had is the
It
albinism.
means,
That was a physical proof. And that's what's...
It means bleeding on his brain. His body's just not equipped to handle anything. He can't go outside. He can't
Not
take
much.
bright lights.
No. No flickering lights.
They're saying his eye movements are partially from a bleed on his brain.
Okay.
And we don't know if that bleed is because of the blood thinners or is it part of his albinism?
And that albinism is still giving me doubts. I mean,
But he keeps wondering, you know, if he's this sick and if he's got all of these problems, how can he be mine? My family's healthy.
Is albinism passed genetically?
Albinism is passed genetically from the parents to the child, but depending on which gene is affected, depends on whether both parents or one parent passes it.
Oh,
Normally, the albinism trait is recessive, and when it meets a copy of itself, meaning both parents having the albinism, the same gene affected, then it becomes dominant.
can you have albinism and not know it at all?
Yes, everybody can carry the albinism trait, but usually you only find out when the baby gets here. You can have two persons that have albinism and their children do not have albinism.
Really?
You have two people who do not have albinism and all of their children have albinism.
Because it's all about the gene combination. In the case of Whittier versus Reed, when it comes to 22-month-old Lucas Whittier, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Reed, you are the father. I can see how relieved you are.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking, man. This is the happiest day of my life. Aside from him being born, this is the happiest day of my life. I will be a father to him if it kills me, until it does, until I finally get old and wear out. And then I'm griping to him about the TV remote or something, you know, because he's wheeling me around in my wheelchair or something.
Well, listen, I said to myself, we've got this amazing young man and beautiful young woman, and they've got this child who needs both parents, who needs the love and the support of two people who love him unconditionally. I just wanted to be able to deliver that result to you, and I did not know what it was, but I am so very happy for you both. Mr. Runnels, you claim a lifelong medical condition led you to believe you would never be a father. That was until the birth of your daughter, Ireland, who you claim is your miracle baby. But now the defendant says you are not the father. You are here to prove that miracles really do happen. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Taylor, you say it breaks your heart to stand in court to prove that Mr. Runnels is not Ireland's daddy, as you wish in your heart he were. But you say the truth is another man is her biological father. Mr. Runnels, why is this test so important to you?
This test is so important to me. For me to be able to have a daughter, it's a miracle.
Having Ireland.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Taylor,
Yes, Your Honor.
you say you want that miracle too.
Yes, I
But
do.
you just don't believe
No, I don't.
this is the case.
Not in my heart.
Tell the
no.
court.
Well, he has a, like, I don't know what it's called.
Called a
yet.
hypospadias.
Okay, can you describe that for the court?
All it is it's where the hole in the penis is in the wrong spot.
Okay.
Instead of being up top, it's more towards the bottom of the head. The doctor just said that it's a big possibility that I may never be able to have kids if the surgeries don't take.
Oh, and
I've
so
had-
you actually had surgeries for
Yes,
this
I've had
condition.
like 4.
You have?
Yeah.
To try to correct this particular
Yeah.
condition.
And none of them's worked. It's all closed back up and the original hole opened back up.
But he was never
Okay.
physically told
The
by
lab.
the hospital or a doctor that he wasn't able to have kids either.
Yeah, it wasn't
But
a
you believe.
for sure thing.
Right, but you were told that it could potentially be a complication.
Oh, yes.
All right, and so Ms. Taylor, you were well aware of this.
Yes.
How long have you all been together?
We've been together almost 4 years.
All right, so you were in a long-standing relationship.
We tried for a good 2 years and nothing was happening. We were talking about, going into adoption if it didn't happen to try to, get a kid because we really do want to start a life together. We want to have our own little family and, get out in the world. We had unprotected sex and we tried for so many times to have it. Nothing was working. So then I decided to go and do something different. And
Wait, what did you do? You have to be specific in court.
I had went and cheated on him with a guy I had actually known for a little while.
That's funny because that ain't what you would told me.
Oh, it is not?
No.
What did she tell you, Mr. Ronald?
Her original story when I found out, because like I said, this is a miracle baby to me. This is, bottom line is this don't work. If this is not my kid, I gotta go. There's not no more to it.
When you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell? The other guy you were pregnant, or did you tell Mr. Ronald?
I told them both, actually. I told the other guy on Facebook that I might be pregnant. It could be his baby. And I told him too.
But did you tell Mr. Ronalds you cheated?
No, man.
No, I did not. He found out physically on my Facebook.
I had to hack her Facebook. I've never fully gotten into my medical disorder. I've never fully looked into it. I've never made myself 100% aware of exactly what was going on. In my heart, knowing for so long that I've never had a kid. I've been trying to have a kid since I've been 18 years old. And, it's just something I need to know.
And so Ireland is 8 months old.
Yes, ma'am.
Has it affected your ability to bond with her?
Sometimes it does feel a little wrong to be trying to bond with a kid that may not be mine. But like I said, I've been there, her whole life.
I always
And it
get
just-
worried that he's gonna leave me because you never know. He's been there this whole time.
But you now fear that Mr. Ronalds will leave.
Yeah, because when
Oh no, it's gonna happen. I mean, if she's not mine, I gotta go. It's just bottom line.
You positive? You're done if this is not.
Yes.
I want to dig into this medical condition because I want to learn more about it. Before I do, Ms. Taylor, can you please explain to the court your issue with the timeline? You say this is also a point of confusion, the timeline.
me and the other guy had an intercourse on the 26th of December of 2015. And when we did that, a week later, like January 1st, on my mom's birthday, as a matter of fact, I found out that I was pregnant. And it wasn't, it didn't add up to me because I thought it took a month. You had to be pregnant a month before your missed period in order for you to be pregnant.
So you're saying you had just had sex with the other guy 4 or 5 days before you found out you were pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you thought maybe I was already pregnant.
Yes.
And that would have been by Mr. Runnels.
Right.
But because of the medical condition, you thought that's why you don't know.
Yeah, because I don't want to say that it is his kid, and I don't want her growing up like I did. I grew up with no father, so I want her to have the best future she can have. I don't want my daughter to have no father, and I want the best for her. I want her to have an outstanding childhood. I want her to go to college, graduate, everything. But she can't do that without having her father. She needs a father to be able to have a shoulder to cry on when mommy's not around. I just feel like if she actually know who her real dad is, when she gets 18, she won't hate me as much either. Because she'll be like, well, at least you went up to court, you did all this for me, you went and did a DNA to prove to me that, to show me who the real father was. And that's what I want. I just want to make sure that she can have the best childhood she can ever possibly have.
Ms. Taylor, I must say to you, what I just heard was not a woman trying to save her relationship, but I just heard a mother trying to save her daughter. The bravery you're showing right now is even beyond your mistakes.
Hypospadias, and I brought the visual for you, is an opening of the urethra in the incorrect position. So on a normal penis, the tip of the penis is where the urethra comes out. In our patient's case, his is a little bit lower. So hypospadias can come in all sorts of varieties. And usually with surgery, it's completely corrected.
After I was like 15, I think, and the doctor was like, you know what, you're old enough. You can decide whether you want to have another one later in life or not. And you know what, I was, at that point, after I've had 4 or 5 surgeries, I was just like, I'll let God take care of it.
So he's saying that his surgeries were not successful.
Correct. And so not being successful doesn't necessarily affect his fertility. He still can have a good urine stream, and that's really a good test of the track of the semen. So given the fact that he has normal testicles from reviewing his case, that's where the sperm are produced, and the outflow track takes the same outflow track as urine.
So this does not necessarily preclude him from being able to father a child.
Not at all.
When it comes to 8-month-old Ireland Taylor Runnels, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Runnels, you are her father.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
It is.
Oh, it is a
Made me
miracle,
nervous
baby.
for a minute, but that's
It really is his baby.
great.
It's a miracle, baby.
Yes, she is.
It's gonna help our relationship out.
Gonna have our own
It's
little
gonna help
family.
my relationship with Ireland a lot more than it already is.
Well, you've been there for her from the beginning,
Yes, I have.
and you've given her your name.
Yes,
You are her legal father,
Yes.
and you are her biological father.
thank you.
And so I'm so very happy for you both. I hope this is now that last piece of truth you needed to have
Our family.
a family,
It's
the
definitely-
foundation
Our
of your
family.
family. And I wish you all the very, very best of luck taking care of that beautiful little girl.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, Your
much,
Honor.
Your Honor.
Thank you. You've warmed my heart today. Ms. Renfro, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition and believe it was genetically passed down by the defendant. And that's why today's paternity results are critical. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Toozy, you are certain you are not her child's biological father and say the truth will be revealed today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Renfro, why do you believe Mr. Toozy is denying paternity?
He don't want to take financial responsibility. He hasn't been there. He wasn't there through my pregnancy. When I had the baby, my baby, he wasn't there. For his surgery, he wasn't there. I've contacted him. I tried to let him know, and there was still nothing, no response, no, forget about, nothing.
So you're saying, Ms. Renfro, that Mr. Toozy hasn't shown any care, concern about...
He's never even seen my son.
Your Honor, I seen him one time. I went over her house one time, and that was it. And I realized the baby just don't look nowhere near like me.
So you admit that you have not stepped up to the plate for the baby because you truly don't believe this child is your child.
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, I looked at the baby. Look, the baby looks way too white.
Okay.
I'm white.
So, Ms. Renfro,
I'm white.
listen, we're not going to... Give me the nature of this relationship, Ms. Renfro.
Yeah, we started out friends. Like, we met through mutual friends, and it was sexual, and we talked about being in a relationship. And then when I found out I was pregnant, I took 7 pregnancy tests.
You discover you're pregnant.
Yes.
And at that point, you say Mr. Toozy just backed off.
Yeah, there was no contact after that. He ignored my calls, text messages, blocked me.
What happened the day you told him?
He didn't say nothing. He was like, well, who's the dad?
I had sent a few text messages from her random
from
ex-boyfriends.
friends. It wasn't
The
no
dudes that
ex.
she had sex with before, and I know this for a fact.
5 months prior to.
What did the text messages say, sir?
I really don't remember what he said. I just kind of glimpsed through it.
So wait a minute, you saw text messages which indicated that you may not be the biological father of a child and you can't remember none of them?
It's not that I don't remember. I just didn't know what.
He was
said to
being
her.
nosy and trying to find something he
Well,
couldn't
do you
find.
remember being in a sexual relationship with Ms. Renfro?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Do you remember not using protection?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember that that's how you make a baby?
Yes, ma'am.
My son has a issue with his stomach. He was born with what you call Hirschsprunger's disease, and it's passed through genetics. And none of my other kids have it. I had sex with him. I got pregnant, and my son had to have surgery at 6 days old. He had to have part of his intestine removed.
See, Your Honor, I don't have any type of medical condition that.
And Ms. Renfro,
But it can be passed through your mom, your dad. It could be down the road from anybody in your family. It don't have to be necessarily from you.
what are you feeling in this moment? Tell me what you're
My son deserves to know who his dad is because of the issues he has with his health, and he just needs to take responsibility for his child.
Were you intimate with anybody else during the window of time when Kendall was conceived?
No, Your Honor.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong to. I don't just lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected. And when I do have sex with people...
Then why would you have another guy signing the birth certificate?
Because he's been there. Like, he took on that role. That was his choice. That was
Hold on,
his
so
decision.
Ms. Renfro, you had another person sign the birth certificate?
My ex signed the birth certificate. He's still in my child's life. He still takes my son to the doctors.
Is your ex in the child's life because he could potentially be the biological father as well?
No, he loves my son.
So, Mr. Toozy, do you have this disease, Hirschsprung's? Do you have this?
No, Your Honor.
Does anyone in your family have issues with their intestinal tract?
No, Your Honor.
And you don't have this disease
No,
in your
ma'am.
family as well? What testimony can you offer related to the paternity of baby Kendall?
Well, like Danielle said, if that's his dad, that's his dad. I believe her. I don't believe she's a lie. And if there was a possibility, I think she would tell me about it. Mr. Toozy, he's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's doing this purposely because like he said, she was texting whatever, texting a guy. Well, there was like somebody that she had slept with around the time, but it was she was protected.
Hold on, don't gloss over that. Don't talk so fast.
Sorry.
You said there was a guy she had slept with during the time?
Well, it was a little before she got pregnant.
The same person that signed the birth certificate.
It wasn't her ex. It was. I think it was It was before. I'm pretty sure it was before you got pregnant.
Okay, well, who was it?
But point being,
That is my baby.
point being, they used protection and it was just one time. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure.
So, Miss Renfro, your best friend, remembers you were intimate with somebody else around the time. When she said it, you did not immediately say, what you're saying is a lie, that is not true.
Stuff happens.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Miss
Stuff
Renfro?
happens.
Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on, Miss Renfro. Come on out, you're getting a whole nother little attitude now. I want to see it. So you say stuff happens.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it sure does.
Sure
it sure
does.
does.
That ain't my baby.
So you say stuff happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So why don't you testify to what happened
I'm
then?
saying what happened.
So what happened?
I messed with
How many
somebody.
men were you sleeping with when you conceived your child?
One.
Testify to that.
One.
Okay.
Where
So
they-
what's
where-
the one
where's
your
the
best
five?
friend remembers?
That was okay, yeah, there was a dude before I got pregnant, but we did use a condom, and it was just once. And
Okay.
It was way before I
And
got
what
pregnant.
planet do you live on where condoms are 100% effective?
Well, when it's like
I have a lot of people that need to move there.
So we've got a diagram here that sort of helps to explain it. And Hirschsprung's disease is also known as toxic megacolon. And it's a rare disorder where the individuals that are affected lack nerve supply and muscle tone to the large intestine and the rectum. So what happens is that stool starts to back up and stretch the intestine. This is a normal intestine that's not stretched right here. And then the individual that has the disease is unable to actually push and eliminate the stool.
So this can be very dangerous.
Yes.
It can.
Can it be inherited?
So the answer is yes, but it's not inherited in a typical pattern. But also, it could be a new gene defect in that particular child that was not passed down from either parent.
Oh, so the disease can also develop with absolutely no connection to the gene pools from the parents.
Correct. It could be a new gene error within the child.
So a new gene error, that means that's within the child's body, the child's genetic makeup.
Correct.
Not inherited from the parents in the way we discussed
parent.
before. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Toozy, you are not the father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
Oops. Calm down, Mr.
Calm down.
Toozy. Calm down. This ain't a stadium, and the child's life is truly at stake now.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Renfro,
Yes, ma'am.
that's not your child's biological father.
That's fine. That is fine. I'm okay with that.
Do you know who is?
Yes, ma'am. If he wasn't the father, then yes, ma'am, I know.
Hold on. No.
You asked, I answered.
Look, little smart mouth. No, hold on. Because you done got on my nerves now. Because you got a smart mouth, but you're not smart enough to know when you're lying. Sitting up trying to pin a baby on a man.
wasn't
Hold on,
pinning a
I'm
baby.
talking now. Since all you can do is shrug your shoulders, stay silent. Because you were so dramatic about how Mr. Toozy had never done anything. Oh, and you
I never
cried,
asked
hold
him for
on.
anything.
You cried yourself a river in this courtroom, baby. All the time, never testifying to the whole truth. And that's wrong. And that's what you need to change in this moment. All that smirking and all that little smart mouth nonsense, you know where it got you? It got you where you don't know definitively who your child's
I know who
biological father is.
I know.
And if you do know who he is, you set up and wasted everybody
No,
else's
I didn't
time.
waste nobody's time.
No,
Waste my
yes, you
time.
did. Yes,
No,
you
because
did.
okay.
You can run your mouth all you want, but your jig is up.